So the past few days have been quite a whirlwind for the Bitcoin and crypto community. This was on Thursday, Friday earlier last week, maybe even Wednesday. I don't know, 2 days ago. So I guess it was Thursday. Cynthia Lummis got everyone's panties in a bunch when she tweeted this: "Big things are coming," with some eyeballs, and then "Stay tuned for 10 a.m." And everyone thought that this was going to be the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve executive order getting passed or signed by Donald Trump. So everyone was in high anticipation. 10 a.m., what time zone? Does she mean Wyoming or Eastern time? What's going on? A lot of people were really trying to figure out and reading between the lines exactly what she was talking about. But ultimately, what happened was we did get an executive order, but it was not the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. It is this executive order to establish United States leadership in digital financial technology. And what this does is it establishes a presidential working group on digital asset markets to strengthen U.S. leadership in digital finance. The working group will be tasked with developing a federal regulatory framework governing digital assets, including stablecoins, and evaluating the creation of a strategic national digital asset stockpile. So while it's not the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, they do mention National Digital Asset Stockpile right there. So what that stockpile will include, who knows? But we do know that the U.S. government still owns, billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin from the Silk Road confiscation. And we don't know if that will be given back to Ross or if they'll sell it. The Biden administration was really moving that money around, the Bitcoin around, to potentially try and sell it. And it seems like the new administration does not want to sell it, or at least, hold on to what they've got. So, I think this is a positive step forward. But it is not exactly what everyone had thought it was going to be, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You're getting something in the ballpark of what you expected. So, in all, I think that's good. And really, what Cynthia Lummis was alluding to with her tweet, I think, was this on becoming the Senate Banking Subcommittee Chair on digital assets. So fairly certain that's what she was tweeting about, was her being the head of that digital assets subcommittee, which is great. We're developing this regulatory framework for banks and for other financial institutions to custody and to do lending services and to do transactions and payments, all using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which is a great thing. It's a step in the right direction. It's just not exactly what everyone had anticipated it was going to be. And a lot of people, especially in the Bitcoin space, are now looking at this as, well, they have been for the past few years, is Bitcoin not exactly doing what its original intended purpose was to be electronic digital cash. And I still think Bitcoin is a Trojan horse for the current existing financial system. I think, yes, we're going to have to be this sort of financial institutionalized asset that banks and other hedge funds and lending services are going to utilize. And I think we're going to be on a dual system for a while, where we have the US dollar, which is Trump is very pro-US dollar, so don't expect that to go away. He's trying to do everything that he can to strengthen the US dollar. But when Bitcoin comes around, I think that it will eventually eclipse the value of the US dollar, especially, if and or when the United States starts buying Bitcoin on the open market and, holding it for a long period of time. And with Cynthia Lummis heading this new banking subcommittee on digital assets, she has been very pro Bitcoin only. She is tossing around digital assets and crypto words, but I think she's having to do that to soothe and, grease the palms of some of the people that gave them a lot of donation money, including like XRP, which I'll get into in another video. But I think that they have to use this kind of language to make those people that gave them lots of money feel better about what's potentially coming, and whether or not they actually buy, XRP or Doge or other cryptos out there is here nor there. As long, to me, as they establish Bitcoin as the main reserve for their assets, I think this is a good step in the right direction, because we want to, as Americans, as the United States, as the federal government, we want to be at the forefront. We want this country to be the #1 place for crypto, digital assets, Bitcoin. And I think that, even bringing along Ethereum and some of these other ones is not necessarily a bad thing, because in the long run, I do think that Bitcoin it already is eclipsing and has eclipsed the rest of the crypto market. I think the Bitcoin dominance is over 50% right now. So I just don't think that, #1, Bitcoin's not going away. #2, even though we'll be bringing along these other cryptos with us in the short term, I think that slowly they'll start to drop. Even though everyone's getting all hyped, there's a bunch of ETFs, like Solana ETFs, getting sent through the SEC, and that's another thing is the SEC has officially repealed the controversial crypto rule SAB 121, which made it very expensive and difficult for existing financial institutions to custody Bitcoin, to do transactions and payments, and to utilize the Bitcoin network and other cryptocurrencies, to facilitate business with, individuals in crypto companies. So the fact that that has gone away is a very good thing. And even the Bank of America CEO says big banks like Bank of America have to adopt a crypto payments, leading to the wealth advisor to predict Bitcoin will hit 130. Now, we're already at like 105 and some change, so I don't think 130 is out of the ballpark by any. I think that's super easily obtainable, to just rise like another 20, 25, 30% from where we are. Not hard at all. I definitely think he's going to hit over 130 within a few months. And in my opinion, I think we're going much higher than that. I think by the end of this year, we'll be somewhere between 250 to 300,000. And that's just going to take time, unfortunately. We all want to be, billionaires right now, but those things take time. So all in all, I think everything that has come out in the past 96 hours has been very positive for Bitcoin. I think it's only going to continue to be positive. We have a lot of these regulations that are being developed for these, like I said, financial institutions to custody and to provide lending service and transactions and payments. I only think that's going to continue. And even though people think that Bitcoin is being subverted by the original, fiat financial system, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because I don't think we're just going to go straight from the US dollar to Bitcoin overnight. Looking back, I think it'll be a long transition from a, Bitcoin to a dual system back to Bitcoin only. So I wouldn't look at this in terms of, there's a bunch of crypto crap out there that, we shouldn't be focusing on, because it's really Bitcoin that's the digital asset. People get upset about runes and inscriptions being on Bitcoin because they think it's just JPEGs and trash. All right, so if you don't want that on Bitcoin, people still want to do that sort of stuff. So you can use, let them use other cryptocurrencies to make their JPEGs that are, worth tens of thousands of dollars, or to make a meme coin, or some other, Haktua coin where, she can rug pull people, and I think she's going to jail. So we'll see about that. But if you don't want all that stuff on Bitcoin, then you have to let people have a place to go and do that. And whether or not you agree with whether it has value or not is not really up to you, because you're not playing that game. If people want to put JPEGs on a blockchain, and you don't want it to be on Bitcoin, cool, it's going to be on Ethereum and Solana and people are going to create their own crypto coins, and that's how that's going to play around. So they will still have value because people perceive value in it. Just because you don't think Beanie Babies have any value doesn't mean that other people don't think they have, or do think they have value. So it's all a matter of perspective. You got to look at it from other people's point of view, and whether or not you agree with whether or not they are right or wrong, that's not up to you. That's up to them to determine the value of the thing that they perceive to be valuable. And lastly, this is like I kind of thought was interesting is here's Trump at the World Economic Forum saying that America will be the world capital of crypto. Saying it to the faces of the largest leaders in the world is quite something. This is just poking the bear. I think that this is something that Trump does very well. He's very entertaining to watch, and I think him going in front of all of these people and telling them America is going to be the capital of crypto for the world. I think a lot of other countries and leaders are going to start looking at that and at least going, I want to share that pie. Because if America is going to start buying Bitcoin, then that means that the price is going to go up, and I should probably secure some. Just like before the ETFs got approved, this is just like ETFs getting approved on steroids. So once the United States starts buying Bitcoin, or even before then, I think you'll see other countries start to buy it. We've had many states, I think there's 11 or 12 states now that have introduced some sort of Bitcoin strategic reserve legislation, which is fantastic. And I think you're going to start, and we have seen other countries utilize Bitcoin and introduce Bitcoin legislation and related sort of regulatory clarity. And having that clarity is very important for these financial institutions that want to provide services to you and I and other, large financial institutions, interbanking systems, and things like that. To say that, Bitcoin should only be electronic cash for decentralized peer-to-peer payments, yes, I am agreeing with you, but this is a transition. This isn't going to be, the U.S. adopting a Bitcoin standard overnight, and everything takes time. So I think this is just a step in the direction of Bitcoin becoming a world, reserve asset. I think that's ultimately where we're headed. So just take all this news in, process it, digest it. I think the market is still trying to figure out what's going on. The ETFs and BlackRock have all been buying, and MicroStrategy keeps on buying. So no one is selling Bitcoin right now. The only people selling Bitcoin are retail investors that don't know what's going on. People that get scared because there's a 5 to 10% price movement in the price of Bitcoin, and they just have no idea. They don't play the long game. As someone that's been in this space for 7, almost 8 years now, it's only done well for me just to hold for the long term. I've outperformed the S&P and the market for the past 8 years just buying and holding Bitcoin. So, as kind of boring as that is, it's very easy, and you don't have to do anything. You really, once you understand Bitcoin, once you understand the future and see where it's going, I think you'll start to hop on board too and start just dollar cost averaging Bitcoin and continuing to grow your stack, hodl. And I think you'll be very happy in the next 5 to 10 years. So thank you for watching.